Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Juta Padakamalam Sri Gurum Vaishnavansam Sri Rupam Chakrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tvam Sajivam Shadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sagana Lalita Sri Vishakhanitanscha Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaur Bhaktivedanta Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaur Bhaktivedanta Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaur Bhaktivedanta
Hare Krishna, everyone. So we're going to have Bhagavad Gita class here in the temple room. If you like, you can take a seat. We're just going to start with Jai Radha Madhava prayers. Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Janavalabha Jaya Girivaradari Yashodanandana Brajachanaranjana Yamunatiravanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Janavalabha Girivradari Yashodanandana Brajachanaranjana Yamunatiravanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Gunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Janavalabha Girivaradari Yashodanandana Brajachanaranjana Yamunatiravanachari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jai. You know how to turn light on. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Jai. Hare Krishna, everyone. Thank you so much for coming tonight. Arrivole. So we're reading today from chapter 17, verse 8. Just give me a second. Yes. Chapter 17, verse. Yes, chapter 17, verse 8. Chapter 17 entitled The Divisions of Faith, verse number 8. So I'm going to recite the verse and maybe you can repeat after me. Ayusattva palarogya sukha priti vivardhana. Rasya snikta stira hridya ahara sattvika priyaha ayusattva palarogya sukha priti vivardhana rasya snikta stira hridya ahara sattvika priyaha ayusattva palarogya sukha priti vivardhana rasya snikta stira hridya ahara sattvika priyaha. Anyone would like to recite? Ayusattva palarogya sukha priti vivardhanaha asya snikta stira hridya ahara sattvika priya. Okay. Let's go to the word for meaning. Ayu, duration of life. Sattva, existence. Bala, strength. Arogya, health. Sukha, happiness. Priti, and satisfaction. Vivardhana, increasing. Rasya, juicy. Sniktaha, fatty. Stiraha, enduring. Hridyaha, pleasing to the heart. Ahara, food. Sattvika, to one in goodness. Priyaha, palatable. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Srila Prabhupada Ki. Foods dear to those in the mode of goodness increase the duration of life, purify one's existence, and give strength, health, happiness, and satisfaction. Such foods are juicy, fatty, wholesome, and pleasing to the heart. Om Gyanata Mirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Svayam Rupa Kadamayam Tadati Svapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Ruta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrachatam Saguna Raguna Tanvitam Tam Sachivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Chagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostuta Tapta Kanchana Gorangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sutadevi Pranamani Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Eva Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shivasari Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Name Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauramani Prasharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashata Deshatarini. Jai, thank you so much for coming to the class today. Yes, so a very interesting verse this week, a very nice verse. It's very much focused about foods in mode of goodness. So, and it doesn't have a purport to it. So there's plenty of time and space to speak a bit more about the glories of foods in mode of goodness and prasadam. So, yes, let me open up with a bit of a strong statement, and I'll explain later what I mean with it. So, I would like to open up with this statement. Don't eat prasadam. Do not eat prasadam. And I'll come back to that. I'll explain later on why that is. So, ever heard of that saying before? You are what you eat. Right? Anyone heard this before? Yes? Nice. So, in this, in actually the previous verse, it explains about three kinds of foods and three kinds of different modes. So it explains about what are those modes actually, how do the foods in those different modes look like. And then in the following verses, text number 8, 17:8, the verse from today, it describes the foods in mode of goodness more precisely. Then the following verse after that describes a bit more what do the foods in mode of passion look like. So it says it's okay, foods which are too bitter, too sour, salty, hot, pungent, are in the mode of passion. And such foods actually cause distress, misery, and disease. And then the next verse after that explains what foods in mode of ignorance look like. So it says that food prepared more than 3 hours before being eaten, that is except for prasadam, and food that is tasteless, decomposed and putrid, and food consisting of remnants and untouchable things is said to be in the mode of passion. Now, in the Gita as well, we can see that Lord Krishna also explains that there's actually 4 types of foods which are consumed by humans. So there's foods which are being eaten, foods which are being sucked, foods which are being drunk, or foodstuffs which are being licked. So those are the 4 different types of categories. Now, I would like to go a bit more into depth about what are the benefits of food in mode of goodness. So we can see actually in a purport of verse 17:10, it describes that those details, those characteristics a bit more in detail. So it says the purpose actually of food is to increase the duration of life. It should increase one's purity, it should purify the mind, and aid bodily strength, really. This is its only purpose. That's what Srila Prabhupada says. And in the past, great authorities chosen specifically foods which are meant to aid our health, to increase our duration of life. And, there's things like milk, sugar, rice, wheat, and fruits and vegetables. And those foods are said to be in the mode of goodness. So who can say that he eats only like this all the time? No, some people? Okay, nice, very nice. In the temple it's maybe a bit easier. But yeah, oftentimes we tend to go to those like foods which are very quickly done, easy to make, things which are available outside, right? Now, I was also wondering, okay, what does it actually mean when we eat in the mode of goodness? What happens with our body? And I was looking up, I wanted to find some statistics or some studies or something, because I like sometimes to have some facts. And I found actually out that there's a highly statistically significant difference between the childhood IQ of meat eaters and of vegetarians, which is quite interesting. And I thought that actually kind of makes sense, because we say when you eat meat, that's something in a mode of ignorance, right? So the intelligence is not very dominant, like you can't make rational decisions. So it makes sense in some ways that the IQ might be higher for people which are vegetarians or vegans, because they're in the mode of goodness, means the intelligence is uncovered, right? Now another interesting study which I found, and this is maybe also a way how we could maybe try to explain karma a bit more to the people out there, is that studies actually show that vegans and vegetarians are generally more happier than meat eaters. It's quite interesting, huh? I don't know how they measured it, but it's quite an interesting study. So now I would like to speak a bit more about, or basically let me open up with a question. Do you think you are eating in the right way, in the correct way? It's a very funny question, isn't it? We never think like, how can you eat wrong? Like, you just put it in your mouth, basically, right? But there's this verse in the Bhagavad Gita 9:27, Yat karoshi yat ashnasi, yat chuhoshi dadasi yat tapasyasi konteya, yat krushva mad arpanam. And this verse says, right, whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever sacrifice or austerity perform, do that as an offering to me. So now, what does it actually mean, eating for Krishna, or eating as an offering for Krishna? Anyone wants to have a guess what that could mean? Any ideas? Yes? Interesting. So choosing particular foods which Krishna likes, and then offering that and then eating it after that. That you would consider eating for Krishna. Mm-hmm. Yeah. 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 Very nice points. Thanks so much. Just a quick one. There's a mic over there. It's for the people online, maybe if you could grab that, and I'll repeat the points you said, but for the future so we can speak in the mic. You were saying eating kind of as a way of connecting with Krishna, with love and devotion. Yes, perfect. It's just for the people online, and that is kind of eating for Krishna. That's what I understood, right? Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. And that's actually very, very nice point which you shared there, which kind of touches on my next point. So I was thinking about this, and I was thinking, actually, did you know we can actually eat in the different modes as well? It's not just what we eat, but it's actually also how we eat. So we can eat in the mode of ignorance. Any ideas what it could look like, eating in the mode of ignorance? Not eating foodstuffs in the mode of ignorance, but eating in an ignorant way in that sense. Any guesses? Anyone wants to guess? Don't worry, it's not like really wrong or right answer, it's just brainstorming.
sort of way I would say would be animalistic, that you're very
Mm.
greedy, you take a lot
Mm.
and take also large portions in your mouth, and you may not have a closed mouth. So you just food is just going everywhere.
Yeah, except for in the
Animalistic.
mouth. Yeah, nice. Yeah, true. So I was thinking that some very good points which you shared there. I was thinking, actually, maybe if we eat out of maybe sadness, out of anger, out of boredom, to distract ourselves, right? That could be kind of considered eating in a mode of ignorance, isn't it? It's kind of a bit destructive, really. Anyone ate, although he wasn't really hungry, like some, right? It happens to all of us. I mean, I do too. Yeah. So I think that we could consider in the mode of ignorance. We don't really eat in the right consciousness. We don't really eat for the sake, or we just eat for the sake of eating, but not actually for a higher purpose. So, what could it look like eating in a mode of passion? I think that's a bit easier, guys. Any ideas? Eating in a mode of passion?
It can seem,
No, it's okay.
I would say, the fast food industry in some way, that you take something really fast and you just walk with it, not really being conscious. Just I have to get something so I can get some energy and
Yeah, it has to be fast, right? Just yeah. I was also thinking, yes, very stressed, right? Very hectic. It's just kind of to enjoy as well. So a lot of things which we eat just to enjoy them. It's for sense gratification. It's it can be also things to, like, for example, we want to eat to lose weight or to look better, right? It's kind of you want to achieve something by eating. So what could it look like maybe in the mode of goodness? Any ideas? Any guesses? Yes?
you pay respect to the food that is in front of you. You're very conscious, quiet when you take it, and just basically you chew it properly. And also the plate in front of you, it looks beautiful. It's beautiful. You're particular about how you put it on the plate and how you put it into your mouth in the way, and actually take time to honor the taste that you have been given, and you eat to nurture the body.
Yeah, it's a very conscious, very mindful in that sense, right? Yeah, very nice. I was also thinking it could be also maybe to be healthier, or kind of to maybe live longer, you know? So it's kind of like for good motivations, right? And then obviously eating in the mode of pure goodness, transcendental.
For Krishna.
Yes. So I think that's what you were saying previously, right? That's kind of like we eat in a way to connect with Krishna, to come closer to Krishna, and to purify our minds and our senses, right? So it's very conscious, also very mindful. Now, how can we eat correctly? And I think it's quite interesting. Anyone ever saw that video, or there's a video of Srila Prabhupada honoring Prasadam? Anyone ever seen that? It's very interesting. You can look at it in YouTube. It looks super meditative. He's just sitting there in silence. And I heard that they also mentioned that Srila Prabhupada, I think he was oftentimes eating by himself. He didn't have like much of a conversation over Prasadam. He sometimes invited people to join him, but they didn't really speak much. He was very present with the Prasadam. He was just sitting there. He was kind of touching with his fingers, tasting it, looking at it, and really trying to connect with it. It's very meditative. And I think that's actually also something we can try to aspire for, to really try to eat and chew mindfully, really be present with the Prasadam, and eating with our hands, touching the Prasadam. In fact, even in Ayurveda, they say if you touch the prasadam before you eat it, actually the digestion starts already when you touch the food, the prasadam. So in that sense, it's even better for digestion. It's a good way of doing it. And also, a very interesting thing, or very good thing from a health point of view, is taking your meals at the same time every day, right? Now, an interesting. So I'm also quite a big fan of Ayurveda. So actually in Ayurveda it's quite interesting. They actually say, did you know, they say you should chew each bite for 30 till 50 times. Each bite. That's quite a lot, right? I guess most of us don't even know how much we chew. It's like, I never counted it for myself. But so we should really do that to really break the food down, and in that way we can also absorb all the different nutrients, the sugars, the oils, the proteins, much better. So, and we can have maximum level of absorption of all the nutrients in the prasadam. So now also interestingly enough, what do you think, or like what is the correct amount to eat from an Ayurvedic standpoint of view? Anyone wants to guess? So very good. So they say actually in Ayurveda, say 2 handfuls, cupped hands next to each other. That's the amount you should eat. You just have 2 cupped hands, and whatever you can fit in them, that's the amount you should actually eat. Yes. That's good. I have a bit small hands, so I'm very unfortunate. But yeah, so quite interesting. And then another thing, maybe some of you heard that before, is also in Ayurveda, when we eat, our stomach should be filled 1/3 with liquid, 1/3 with solid foodstuffs, and 1/3 should be actually kept left in our stomach. So good rule of thumb is as well, like, you know, when you eat and then you feel like, okay, I can just take a little bit more, that's kind of when you should stop. And usually then after like 50 minutes, you're full, you don't need anything anymore. Also in Ayurveda, they also speak about drinking, which is also very good, very important, drinking enough water. So they say actually you should drink about 1 liter of water on an empty stomach every morning. And it should be also warm and lukewarm water. And also most of you probably seen, like a lot of times the devotees, they take only sips, or they drink while sitting down, which is also very important, so the water can be absorbed much more better into the body. And it's quite interesting as well that there's a shloka in Ayurveda which says, food is medicine when consumed properly. So actually when we consume food properly, in the right mood, the right kind of foods, we can actually hear ourselves. Shri Shri Radha Gokulananda ki, Shri Shri Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman ki, Shri Shri Nitya Gaurika ki, Shri Prabhupada ki, Jai. So yeah, now we're going a bit more into the glories of Prasadam. So what does Prasadam actually mean? Any ideas? Maybe guesses? You probably know what it means. Anyone else have a guess? Yes, so the word Prasadam is a Sanskrit word, like translated. What we think it could mean, Prasadam? Yeah. Yeah, it actually means mercy in that sense, because you're absolutely right, we offer it and then we take it, and so it's considered the mercy, the direct mercy of God, right? Now, let's go a bit more into it. Why do we actually do that? Do we have any vegetarians or vegans here? Vegetarians, vegans? No? Okay, yeah. You're more like a Krishnatarian, right? But oh, amazing. Wow, Haribol. So why do we even do all that, right? So vegetarians, vegan, oftentimes they say like, okay, we have the best way of eating because we're not harming any animals, we're not killing any animals, we're not causing any harm. But when we actually look at it, even if we just plant vegetables and we harvest vegetables, so many animals are getting killed and harmed. There's like worms in the ground. Actually, we have a farm just all the way at the gate. And if you just go there for like one day and like you start planting some vegetables and things like that, you see that there's so many like living entities in the ground. Like there's animals, there's ants, there's worms, there's snails and all kind of snakes, all kinds of things. Not snakes, sorry, snails. Yeah, you call it snails. And so when we plant those vegetables and we harvest them, we're actually harming a lot of those animals. They're getting killed as well. So from our point of view, there's a lot of karmic reaction involved in that as well. So it's actually very, very difficult to move around, to eat in the material world without being involved in karma. Because just when you walk, you might step on an ant, you can harm so many living beings. And so our understanding is, okay, we can't be free, we can't avoid karmic reaction, right? So then how do we do that? How can we free those things from karmic reaction? Now, our way of doing that is by offering it back to Krishna, right? And in that way, once Krishna accepts it, it gets freed from karmic reaction. And also all the living entities harmed in the process, they get benefits from it as well. So now someone might say, okay, you're saying you offer the same foods back to Krishna, which he provided to you. Like what's the use, right? Like it's his anyway, it was his, it's still his, like you're just giving it back to him. Like, how does that make any difference? It's like you would borrow me your jacket and then after a week I give it back to you. It's like, it's not really doing much, right? But the thing which we can give to Krishna is our love. We can add our love to Krishna. So there's a very nice analogy. So imagine you have a small child or a kid, and now you as the parent, you go into the shops and you buy maybe like a pack of sweets for the kid. And you know, you have the money, you could buy like lots of sweets, like it's nothing big for you, but then the kid, when it opens the child, when it opens the pack and it takes out that very first sweet and gives it back to you, it's like, it's not a big deal because you could buy so many different sweets, but it is special, right? Because it's been given to you with so much love and affection and care, and you see, okay, wow, he's appreciating the fact that I gave him those sweets, you know? So that's the same thing which we're doing with the food which we're offering to Krishna. Another nice analogy is as well, sometimes when you go to India, you can see people going into the Ganges and they take out a handful of Ganges water and they put it back into the Ganges. The same thing you could say as well, like, okay, how does this add any benefit? What they're actually giving to the Ganges, but they're actually adding sacred mantras, they're adding love, the right consciousness into that, right? And so they give it back, they offer it back to the Ganges, and in that way it is an offering because the love is there. So yeah, I think also very interesting, very important is in that regard, when we cook, did you actually know the consciousness which you have while you cook goes actually into the food? So that's from an Ayurvedic standpoint, we understand that. So now that might explain that why, you know, the food which usually mother's kitchen, right, usually tastes the best, isn't it? Because there's so much love in it, right? It just tastes differently, like than anything you can get out there. And yeah, and that way actually the whole process of going out, buying groceries, you know, driving to the supermarket, drive back home, preparing everything nicely, cutting it, cooking it, then offering it, and at the end cleaning everything. It can be a very meditative process actually, and it can really help us to connect with Krishna in such a way, right? It's a very nice ritual actually, very nice process. Yeah, and then obviously by taking prasadam, we understand that we can actually conquer all the senses, because prasadam conquers the tongue, and the tongue is actually once we control the tongue, all the other senses are going to follow. So, yeah, so there's two ways to do that: honoring prasadam and chanting the holy names. And now I would like to also explain the first statement which I make about don't eat prasadam, because Srila Prabhupada actually said don't eat prasadam, and that's a small pastime. When Tamal Krishna Maharaj, he helped out with the opening up of the Radha Krishna temple in London in 1969, and then Prabhupada wanted them to send out invitations to all the people to come to the opening of the temple. And he said on the invitation, you should list the prasadam. You should list that, we're going to eat prasadam, we're going to have prasadam. And so Tamal Krishna Maharaj, he created this invitation, and he read the proposed invitation to Srila Prabhupada. And so he read everything out, and he said, okay, including you're invited to eat prasadam. And then Srila Prabhupada cut him off and said, no, we don't eat prasadam. We respect prasadam. We honor prasadam. So he was putting a very big emphasis on that. We don't just eat prasadam. It's not just for our sense gratification. It's really a way to connect, a way to build that relationship with Krishna. And respecting really means enjoying the remnants of Krishna's enjoyment. So whatever Krishna has enjoyed, we can enjoy as well, in that sense. And then there's so many other things as well about prasadam. So offering prasadam, accepting prasadam, obviously is 2 of the 6 loving exchanges between devotees, right? So it can be also very nice exchange between devotees, offering prasadam, taking prasadam. It's a very nice way of building that relationship between devotees. And also, of course, prasadam is one of our strongest preaching tools, If like the books, the philosophy, the kirtan, if all that fails or doesn't help, prasadam usually never lets us down. So it's a very strong tool which we have as well. And now also there's a specific statement in the Padma Puran that's actually mentioned in the Nectar of Devotion in chapter 9. And that says, a person who honors the prasad and regularly eats it, not exactly in front of the deity, along with charnamrita, the water offered to the lotus feet of the Lord, which is mixed with seeds of the tulsi tree, immediately can achieve the results of the pious activities that are obtained through 10,000 performances of sacrificial rites. So that's quite a big statement, huh? 10,000 performances of sacrificial rites. So it has a very, very purifying effect as well. Of course, the consciousness which we have also plays a role, but it's very, very potent. And now I would like to end as well with a small little pastime of Srila Prabhupada. So there was a pastime when Srila Prabhupada traveled to South America with his 2 servants. And yeah, basically, when they went to the temple, they gave them some packed prasadam lunch to take with them on the flight. Then when they were on the plane, Srila Prabhupada opened up the prasadam, he ate some, and then he offered some of that prasadam as well to his servant, Sruta Kirti Prabhu. And so he was eating also some of those prasadam, he's having the remnants of Srila Prabhupada. And then just while they were eating, one of the air hostesses came over, and she was just walking by, and she was looking at it and says, "Wow, that looks quite nice. That looks quite tasty." And then she just grabbed some of that prasadam and ate some. And Shuddha Kirti Prabhu was a bit confused. He said, "Okay, what's going on here?" But Srila Prabhupada, he was just looking at her and he was smiling, And then she also came back and asked, can I do anything for you? Do you need something? Do you need some fruits or some milk or something? And then Prabhupada said, yeah, some hot milk would be nice. So then she came back and she brought some hot milk. Anyways, that's one part of the pastime. Now, interesting enough, years later after that, Shuddha Kirti Prabhu went again to South America when he did a preaching tour. And after his class, one devotee came up to him and asked Shuddha Kirti Prabhu if he would like to hear an amazing story. And then this devotee said he was out in some remote village, going door to door, distributing some books, and trying to reach out to new people. So then he was knocking on one door, and then one lady opened up the door, fully dressed in devotional clothing, wearing tilak and everything. And she had also a little temple with an altar with some deities on there. She had all the books and all the pictures of Srila Prabhupada on the wall, and Srila Prabhupada's books and everything. And he was very, very intrigued, and he was asking her like, sorry, I just have to ask, like, how did that happen? How did you become a devotee? And then she said she actually used to be an airline hostess back in the days. And then some years ago, she met the person, the author of those books, on a flight. And she said she was really just very intrigued of like how nice he was, how friendly he was, how kind he was. And so she was looking up his name based on his boarding pass. And then she found that, oh, he's actually an author of some books. He writes books. So then she started reading the books. And then she read in the books, okay, you should chant the holy names. You should offer your food to Lord Krishna. So she started doing that. And then from those small things, she started actually to become a devotee. And Shuddha Kirti Prabhu was completely baffled and thought, like, wow, that's amazing. But he's understood how potent actually prasadam can be, and just having a moment of association with a pure devotee like Srila Prabhupada. So yeah, that's pretty much it. That's all the points I got. I would like to open up. Thank you so much, first of all, for giving me your attention and being here. I hope you could take some valuable points from this class with you. And yeah, I would like to open up for some questions, comments, anything you would like to add or ask. Yeah, please. We have a mic here as well. So yeah. Any questions, comments? No? Okay. No? Okay.
Thank you for a very nice class, Roland. I think you had it was really nice the way that you started with this, kind of like a cliffhanger, leaving us wanting more. Okay, what do you mean by it?
Yeah.
And I think it's a really, really important point that we don't eat prasadam, but we respect it. And coming here to the Bhaktivedanta Manor, I think it's in Copenhagen we don't serve each other in the same way as you do here, and that is something I can feel that I really miss that. I really miss that, both the opportunity to serve the devotees myself, but also being served in some kind of way, because you appreciate it so much more.
Yeah.
Because there's also this interaction of the other people. It's not just it's not about just filling my stomach. No, it's about the whole interaction, the whole experience actually. And I think it could really change the atmosphere in Copenhagen. So it's really nice to come here and experience this.
So you don't really serve in Copenhagen, you're saying? Or like, how is it in Copenhagen?
Sometimes we do, but there's not like fixed time of where we go down together and we serve each other in the same way as you do here. Sometimes, yeah, if we are two people, we can serve each other. But there's not the same kind of tradition, not the same vibe, and I think it's something very powerful actually.
Yeah.
Because of the interaction between devotees.
Yeah, no, it's amazing. It's actually an amazing service as well, you know, just getting to serve prasadam to the devotees. You know, we got also like some volunteers in the Haveli which come a lot of times to like serve out prasadam. And it's like amazing. You can see like how much enthusiasm they have doing that, you know. It's like they're so eager to like serve you prasadam, and then when you sit down, sometimes they come up and like bring you something more, and it's like so much enthusiasm, and it's so amazing to see. It's weird. It's heartwarming to see how much enthusiasm they put into it, and yeah, it's just great to like. You're always happy to see them as well, because you know like, wow, like he's doing this service with so much passion. You know, it's very nice. It's amazing. Yeah.
It can really change your day, even if you're having a bad day.
Yes.
Just that smile from the devotee who's just serving a little bit of rice on your plate. That can really make a big change.
Yeah, when you come back from like a long, cold day outside on book distribution, especially during the marathon, like when it's cold outside and you come back and then you got like someone serving you prasadam, it's amazing. It makes your day, for sure. Yeah, thank you so much. Nice points. You had something, or?
So you were speaking about honoring prasadam. What can we meditate on? What should the meditation be while we're honoring prasadam, or even while we're preparing prasadam? Because, you know, for a person that lives outside, goes to work, and then comes back, you know, their mind can be wandering all over the places. So what should one focus on, practically speaking?
Yeah. I think so. First of all, as well, like, you know, when you, for us, it's all about the consciousness which you have when you do the different activities. So it's actually really, like I mentioned previously, it's just a nice meditation. Even just going out, you know, going to supermarket and maybe for a change, thinking about, okay, not so much what would I like to eat, but what would Krishna like to eat. Maybe Krishna would like, you know, I think Krishna would like that, and maybe like let's get the nice apple, or let's get this and that, you know. Let's make some sweets. So like it's having a very nice meditation and really using that as an opportunity to connect more with Krishna, making it very personal, right? So even when we offer the food or the bhoga to Krishna, and then it becomes prasadam, and then we mix it with the rest of the offering, and then first of all we wash Krishna's plate, right? We kind of really, it's a very personal kind of connection. And then when we honor the prasadam, really, as I mentioned earlier as well, like we touch it, we like feel it, we can connect with it with all our senses, actually engage all our senses. We can, the taste of smell, taste of touching, eating, tasting, and everything. It's and just trying to feel actually, or maybe taste even kind of like that love, or that like is Krishna's remnants, right? Which is in the prasadam, and really meditating on that, meditating on how Krishna provided us that, you know, and yeah, the loving exchange which is happening with that. So it's a very nice, I think, to deepen that relationship. Thank you for the question. Very nice question. Okay, I think we're gonna finish because curtains open soon. Thank you so much, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai.
Jayo Jaya Kora Chande Arachigo Shoba Yagamana Lopa Dakina Nitsajan Samakara Yatra Dara Osiyache Gorachan Yatra Simasane
Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivastari Gaura Bhaktivedanta Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivastari Gaura Bhaktivedanta Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Govinda Hari Bol Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hari Bol Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Govinda Hari Om Rama Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Govinda Hari Bol Nama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Jaya Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman Jaya Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman Jaya Gorani Jaya Jaya Gorani Jaya Gorani Jaya Jaya Gorani Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Shri Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Nitya Gora Haripol 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 Nitya Gora Haripol Nitya Gora Haripol 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 Nitya Gora Haripol Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Shri Gokulananda ki Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman ki Shri Gaura Nitai ki Shri Prabhupada ki Nitai Gaura Premanande Jai Om Vishnu Pad Paramahamsa Parivragacharya Astoratara Sarasri Srimat Sadandi Goswami His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Shri Prabhupada ki Jai Om Vishnu Pad Paramahamsa Parivragacharya Astoratara Sarasri Srimat Sadandi Goswami His Divine Grace Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj ki Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda ki Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Radha Gadada Shri Vasari Gaura Bhaktavrinda ki Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shamakuna Radha Kuna Giri Govardhan ki Vrindavan Dham ki Mathura Dham ki Navadvip Dham ki Ganga Mai ki Yamuna Mai ki Tulasi Devi ki Harinam Sankirtan Yagya ki Brihat Mridanga ki Samaveda Bhaktavrinda ki Nitai Gaura Premanande. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga. All glories to His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. Namaste Narasimhaya. Namaste Narasimhaya. Prahlada Larayine. Prahlada Larayine. Hiranyakashipu Raksha. Sila Tangana Kalaye. Ito Nishimo Barato Nishimo. Yato Yato Yamitato Nishimo. Bahir Nishimo Rera Yer Nishimo. Narasingha Marim Saranam Prapade. Navakara Kamalavare Nakam Adhura Stringa Dalita Hiranyakasipu Danupinga Kesavadrita Narahare Rupa Jaya Jagadishari Jaya Jagadishari Jaya Jagadishari Kesavadrita Narahare Rupa Jaya Jagadishari Jaya Jagadishari Jaya Jagadishari Jaya Nishingare Jaya Nishingare Jaya Nishingare Jaya Nishingare Jaya Lakshmi Nari Singha Jaya Lakshmi Nari Singha Jaya Lakshmi Nari Singha Jaya Lakshmi Singha Jaya Prahlad Maharaj, Jaya Prahlad Maharaj, Jaya Prahlad Maharaj, Jaya Prahlad Maharaj. Shri Bhagavan Shingadev ki, Prahlad Maharaj ki, Nitai Gaura Primanande.
Amazing scene, amazing enthusiastic scene. Inspired by you in the morning. Yeah. You were more heartfelt. Just genuinely. So, Prabhu, I wanted to have a short one. holding a sort of an outreach program to get some people. So we have 3 teams. One is the SSP, Civic Party, so this one is like the firing one is like is from 12 to 4. Yeah. They just sit down, do like they can do sitting Kirtan, kind of Tabu style.
Nice.
And then the other one is Harinam, just walking the street and just singing out.